It's hard to believe that just a couple weeks ago, the TT was a completely different color. But even with all the work we put into it, the car is nowhere near perfect. What can you really expect, though, when you're still learning? Despite knowing that, though, I still can't help but compare myself to those who know what they're doing. And I don't really know what to make of that. I guess you could say, as a beginner, all you can really strive for is improving one step at a time. Plus, if we keep focusing on that, we're going to lose sight of a decision that's quite a bit more important. And that very same decision just might be one that we can't really ignore for too much longer. After all, lately, it's been almost all I can think about. The day started like any other, on the way to the car I wanted to work on. However, it wouldn't be long before we ran into something a little unexpected. I had almost completely forgotten they were going to do some construction around the neighborhood, and since what they were doing required tearing out the entire road around the neighborhood, I had no idea if there was any way to get my car to the TT. In other words, I had to secure a route via foot first. Since they're replacing both the road and the sidewalks in the entire neighborhood, this is going to be a bit of a recurring character over the next couple weeks. And due to the nature of what they're doing, getting cars in and out may get progressively harder as the weeks go on. Thankfully, since they're just getting started, there was still a way in and out. One bonus of this, though, is we'll be able to borrow the garage for an extended period of time, which I would say is pretty convenient. Like I mentioned earlier, this wrap is not perfect. The quality of the application is definitely a lot better than the S4 since that was the first car I had ever done. However, there are still a number of issues that I wanted to fix today, and initially that was what I was dedicating the whole weekend to. The plan was to start with some detail work, such as the door jambs, and then move on to correcting some issues by replacing panels, all of which would be pretty routine and should result in a car that is much nicer overall than where it sits now. There was, however, one major roadblock that just so happened to be out of my control.
It's really hot this weekend. It's about 98 today, and tomorrow's is supposed to be about 105. So it's to the point where if we tear the vinyl off, there is a good chance we will have to wait to put any back on because it will be too soft to apply properly. So as much as I really want to do this today, I think we should be smart and maybe wait for a day that I know we can actually do it rather than trying it and getting frustrated and stopping.
It's moments like this that I really wish I had a temperature-controlled area to work on my cars, and I think that will happen someday, just not quite yet. Instead, I guess we should probably do something that I've been putting off. You might remember that before we changed the color of this car, we ran into a pretty big issue. After converting this car to wideband, we found out pretty quickly that our turbo is dying. It struggles to make and hold the requested boost anymore. So in other words, the big decision we have to make is what are we going to replace it with? And that's where the decision gets really tough, because it's a super open-ended question.
I've been looking through all the turbo options for a really long time now, and sadly, a lot of them just don't really exist anymore, specifically for the 225 model. If you got the front-wheel drive model, there's a lot, but that's a whole different story. Specifically for the 225 though, CTS used to have a kit, null and void. APR used to have a kit, can't get it anymore. You can't even buy the ATP eliminators anymore, despite the fact that they're listed on all the sites still.
I even reached out to some companies over in the UK. Their kits still work on the car, but not for mine because it's not right-hand drive.
So if you want a full frame upgrade, you have to go custom. In other words, the way I see it, there's only two real options: hybrid or custom.
And that might seem like a pretty big oversimplification, but in the States, it's kind of true. Since the 225's boost routing is different and there's a drive shaft, you can't run a GTI turbo kit. So if you want a fully bolt-on kit, the only thing that really exists are the hybrid turbos. But their big limitation is that they're still a KO4. And if you want to run a full-frame upgraded turbo, the only thing you can really do is piece together the kit yourself. There are some pretty big pros and even bigger cons to both options. And internally, I can argue it both ways. I've been going back and forth on this decision ever since I found out about the issue. To be honest, I have no idea what I really want. In other words, I'm stuck. However, there is this old adage that's been floating around in my head for the past couple weeks as well. It's this concept that if you're ever stuck in a situation where you're debating between two things, the best route is to just pick one. And after you've sat with your decision for just a little bit, the process of making it will help you determine if it is something that you really wanted or if you actually wanted the other option the whole time. Now, I have absolutely no idea if this is true or works in any way. But on the other side of the coin, we lose absolutely nothing by trying it. So let's debate the pros and cons of each and then pick something. We've got two different options. The straight and narrow road of installing a hybrid, likely the Franken-turbo, or the windy road that is building a custom big turbo setup. And that's a path where we can't really see around the corner. I wanted to start somewhere simple, like convenience, but internally I was already arguing with myself.
The Franken-turbo is basically a one-stop shop. It's got everything you would need and you're good to go. But you like learning though. I'm sure you'd have a blast building this kit.
Well, maybe simplicity wasn't the best first place to start. I am a little biased towards learning, and the idea that I'd learn a lot of new skills building a custom turbo kit is definitely a pro and a winner in my book. That's pretty hard to quantify. What about something a little more tangible like price? And there might not even be a contest there since the Franken-turbo has all we need. It's loads cheaper.
Plus, all that money saved could just go to the other projects, and they could really use it.
I guess custom will be more expensive, but you do get what you pay for, I think.
You're gonna get the reliability of a name brand turbo and a lot more power.
Yeah, those are definitely benefits, but power is an expensive rabbit hole. If we chase it too far, we're gonna have to build the block.
The hybrid is safe for the stock block. You like learning and you've been wanting to build an engine for a really long time. This is a great excuse.
This is already out of hand. All of that is true. Let's take it one step at a time. We're just looking for reasons to pick one over the other, and being bolt-on is a benefit. And for that matter, so is being safe for the stock block. Then again, couldn't I just run a smaller big turbo? Yeah, I guess that's not much of a benefit one way or the other if you think of it like that. I have, however, always wanted to build an engine.
Now that's the spirit. Even if you just drop in rods, you could push about 400 horsepower and have a complete blast. Do you even need that much power on the TT chassis? It was fun at the stock power levels, let alone where it was at before the turbo went. The hybrid's gonna spool faster anyways.
Wonderful. Two more conflicting valid points. I love how quickly the stock KO4 spools, and I wouldn't want to lose that by running a turbo that's just massive.
Well, then don't run a massive turbo. You don't need to push super high horsepower to have fun. Why don't you just build a full-frame kit with a focus on spool and effective use of power? Plus, once you have a full-frame kit built, if you do want to swap turbos down the road, it's going to be way easier, unlike if you went with a hybrid. But you don't even know how to make the downpipe or the intake pipe. That's not even going to matter. You like learning.
Both of those arguments make complete sense to me, but the biggest thing that stands out is just how flexible the big turbo is. We can make it whatever we want.
I think you're also forgetting that you don't really have a place to do this fab work, nor do you have the time to have the engine pulled in a garage for who knows how long. You're borrowing it.
That's a simple argument, but an effective one. That's one of the biggest reasons I'm not fully set on going custom. Most of the work I've done on this car has been outside. If I had a shop, it would be a completely different story. But right now, I don't. So maybe custom's a bad idea. Maybe it wouldn't even be possible to piece together what I need and figure out the rest. Plus, since there's so much unknown in it, I don't know how long it would take.
You could put the hybrid in over the course of one weekend.
That's true, and it's the safer option. I'd hate to borrow someone's garage when I don't know how long I'd need it for. Maybe it's not much of a debate then.
Why don't you just break it up then? Rather than building the turbo kit and the engine at the same time, build the turbo kit, get that working, and then run it on wastegate until you have time to build the engine.
You know, now that I think about it, that's not a terrible idea. It actually kinda would make the big turbo idea feasible again. I'm confident that I could build a custom kit over the course of a couple weeks, and I'm sure I could build an engine over the course of a similar timeline. I just don't know how long it would take if I did them both at the same time, and that's a lot of unknowns. But if we space them out, maybe, just maybe.
Just pick the safe choice.
Just build it once and build it right.
The hybrid route is the straight road. It's the safe choice. On the other hand, we've got a road where we can't see around the corner. Sure, there's potential, but it's also risky. I thought about this for a long time, and for this to work, I need to make a decision and sit with it for a bit, and then hopefully I'll be able to tell if it was something I really wanted, or if I wanted the other option this whole time. The only way this can really go wrong is if I never make a decision. I'm sealing the option I chose in this envelope, and it's going to be with me over the course of the next week. And I figure if I don't learn any insights by having mentally committed to it, I'm good to just go with it. Like I said, I'm only giving myself a week for this one, and I also want to hear what you think would be better, which is why I'm not telling you the one that I'm leaning towards, so you're not biased. At this point, you know just as well as I do the pros and cons of each route, so I'm eager to hear what you guys suggest. Plus, the best part is, it's not like we can really go wrong with either route. We're basically just debating between two good things. So holistically, even though it's a problem now, I think this car has a really bright future. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed, consider dropping a like and subscribing for more. I've got a lot planned for the channel, so I really hope you're excited. Either way, I'll see you guys in the next episode. Thank you again. Have a wonderful day.